About Darlington. The 2021 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs got off to a wild start in Darlington, with many big names now looking on the outside looking in as the round of 12 approaches. My name is Michael Carey, and welcome to this week's rundown. Denny Hamlin finally captured his first win of 2021 after a rather turbulent week on social media. Multiple playoff drivers, including Michael McDowell, Kyle Busch, William Byron, and Chase Elliott, all finished their race in the garage, sending the points into a wild shakeup. Busch, McDowell, Byron, and Bowman all sit below the cut line with just 2 races remaining before the round of 12. Now, Bowman could strike following an impressive win at Richmond earlier this year, but Kyle Busch also knows a thing or two about winning at the short track. Now that the recap's out of the way, let's talk about NASCAR's future, which has a few aspects that look pretty interesting. 2022 is set to be a pretty big year for NASCAR. We got the next-gen car on the way, and possibly some new venues. According to an explosive report by The Athletic, NASCAR is toying around with moving the Busch Clash from the Daytona road course to the Los Angeles Coliseum. Wait, no, not that one. This one. It's a pretty stark difference between the high banks of Daytona and what is kind of like the older brother of Bowman Gray. So here's the thing. The idea, in theory, could work. Obviously, this small of a venue is not going to be able to support a full 40 field of NASCAR Cup Series cars. But with a smaller event like the Busch Clash, something is there. Also, NASCAR doesn't really have that big of a market in LA. I mean, when you think of LA, you think of glitz, glamour, celebrities, and insane living costs. Now, the rumors of the Coliseum have kind of been rumbling around behind the scenes since May, and this was further confirmed when Fox Sports' Chris Myers tweeted about it seemingly out of the blue. Now, don't forget, NASCAR is also toying around with a possible street course in Chicago in the near future. Should NASCAR go to LA and transform the Coliseum into a racing venue, can you imagine where else NASCAR could end up going? It's a questionable move, don't get me wrong. But look at how NASCAR has been sort of getting back into the pop culture spotlight recently. From the Post Malone music video, a whole new Netflix series with Kevin James, NASCAR seems like they're starting to kind of take the spotlight back that they've sort of lost over the last 10 to 15 years compared to the 90s and the 2000s. If NASCAR wants to go back in that spotlight again, Los Angeles is a hell of a place to start. For the first time, some of the top NASCAR Cup Series organizations were able to finally get their own next-gen cars on track in Daytona this week. The cars from the likes of RCR, JTG, Hendrick, Gibbs, and SHR featured a variety of wraps, with some beginning to test the waters of the new number placement for next season. Now, Twitter seemed to actually come around a bit more on the number placement. 2 very specific examples that caught my eye came from Harris Liu at SHR, who crafted the number 41 Mustang's design, Aaron Burnett, who threw together what was arguably the most well-received example on social media coming from CGR. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you give designers the proper amount of time to craft their schemes around the new placement, it's a learning curve for everybody. Don't get me wrong. Give them time. You will be surprised at what they come up with, and I guarantee you, you might end up liking it. Now, I know many are probably wondering why CGR is even down in Daytona right now when they're not even going to be around in 2022. Trackhouse acquired the NASCAR assets of Chip Ganassi Racing following Phoenix this year. Any data that CGR can bring into 2022 with the acquisition, that is going to be owned by Trackhouse. So just because you don't see the number 99 down in Daytona right now, can we just take a moment and thank NASCAR for actually allowing that slash in the 99? Because that is hands down one of the most beautiful number designs I've ever seen. It doesn't mean that Trackhouse is not starting to curate their own data heading into next season. And keep in mind, that 42 car, that's Ross Chastain's car, and he's going to Trackhouse next year. So he'll be able to provide driver-specific data for the next-gen car, and Trackhouse doesn't even have to test on their own. Now, about that next-gen car, now, the cars were on track, halted by rain for a little bit, and then eventually got back on track to practice some drafting and some pack racing, and the results seemed pretty good. And the best part, Daytona is only a few months away. Some loose ends to tie up before Richmond. Kyle Busch was slapped with a $50,000 fine after a pretty serious lapse in judgment. After getting into the wall off turn 2 during Sunday's Southern 500, Busch drove his car down pit road and drove through a set of orange cones in an area where multiple fans and track workers were standing. The individuals were forced to run out of the way to avoid being struck by Busch. Both JGR and the driver have yet to comment on the fine. 21-year-old Chris Hacker is signing on for a 2-race deal with Nice Motorsports for the 2021 season. Hacker will race at both Las Vegas and Martinsville in a yet-to-be-numbered Silverado entry for Nice. Backing will come from the Charred Flag Foundation, the same group that joined Hacker for his Truck Series debut at Gateway last month with Rayoum Brothers Racing. The Wood Brothers will forego their traditional red and white color palette thanks to a new partnership with the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. In addition, the car will feature no loud or significant design in an effort to draw attention to the hood of the car, which will feature the logo and phone number of the Lifeline. Fans who are in need of help and support, they're encouraged to call 1-800-273-8255. And Beard Motorsports has confirmed that they will field an entry in the 2022 Daytona 500, bringing their own next-gen Camaro to the World Center of Racing. Team number 62 will continue their alliance with RCR and is expected to race in all super speedway events as per tradition. No driver has been confirmed yet, however, 2-time Daytona 500 winner Michael Waltrip seems to be very interested. That's going to wrap it up for this week's rundown. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, consider subscribing. Sources have told me that if you subscribe, your favorite playoff driver is guaranteed to win at Richmond. If that doesn't happen, don't blame me. I'm just simply telling you what my sources have told me. Don't forget to paint your side skirts and spoilers. See you all in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of The Rundown. If you really enjoyed what you saw, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and keep your eyes on TobyChristie.com for the latest news, rumors, and exclusive content from inside the NASCAR garage.